name is Shimeka Spurlock. The people call me Blue. My hair is usually blue. And I'm from Richmond, Virginia. Okay, so the vintage, I quit a job and I like to wear thrifted clothes. I quit a job, and when I quit, I was like, you know, I'm gonna sell my clothes. So I basically went and did the LLC. I did everything I needed to do to have an online business. And probably within a day or so, I started selling my clothes, you know, from my closet because I wear thrifted clothes. And then after that, I decided that I was going to sell vintage clothes. So that's how I started when I got into the vintage and the thrifting and all that good stuff. And also, my dad, he's the thrift. He sold secondhand stuff. I'm talking about antique jewelry, furniture, all that kind of stuff. So my dad did that type of stuff. And then my grandmother used to walk me. I'm from the West End, so she used to walk me to the thrift store like every week, and that was a fun memory. I used to do that all the time, and I loved it. So that's how I did, you know, the thrifting and the vintage. As far as the makeup was just like something I fell into. I was working at a store as a temp for 2 weeks, and then they said they saw more in me, so they hired me as a part-time person to run the register. Then they said, hey, we think you're great. And they were like, okay, well, we're going to make you a beauty advisor. You're going to be the only one on this side, and you're going to know all about the products and everything. And then a manager pulled me to the side and said, I think you'd be a great artist. I'm going to train you. So I knew nothing about makeup. This just fell in my lap, and I'm just like, okay, all right, I'll take it. As far as fitness was, I lost a brother-in-law in 2015. He died from cirrhosis of the liver. He was only 26 years old. And I remember drinking once, like I was drinking beforehand. I'm a drinker, but when he died, I just drank and I drank and I drank, which caused me to gain weight. I went to a party, took a picture, and I looked like a linebacker. So at that point, I realized I had to change something, but I just happened to be in a VIP section with a girl that was already working out, and she kind of spoke greatness into me. And Monday morning, I bought me a Foreman grill, went and checked out a local trainer, and the madness started there. My style says live out loud. You have to me, I think colors helps your mood. So I like bright colors. I've always liked bright colors since I was a kid. My grandmother would tell you every time I wore something, it was bright. But colors make me feel good. So I'm like, hey, you know, if you walk out with a whole bunch of colors, it's also a conversation starter. So if I walk out with colors on, 9 times out of 10, somebody's gonna pull me to the side and ask me questions. And I'm a people person, so I like the attention, and I like to talk to people and meet new people. So I would say definitely my style says to live out loud. Don't be scared of anything. It ain't no rules in fashion. To me, it's not. Wear white when the hell you want to wear it. Just go for it. Creating helps sometimes. It depends on what I'm going through. Like when I notice I do my best makeup when I'm mad. It's really weird. So when I'm pissed off about something or my anxiety is really high, if I sit in front of my vanity and I start planning the makeup and creating, it actually takes my mood from here all the way down here. So I would say yes, creating helps a lot. Yes. Okay. So the barriers I experience, typically because of the mental illness I have, if I get too overwhelmed, I just shut down. So I get overwhelmed, my mind is like my brain won't work. My brain it's like my thoughts are like scrambled and I can't process. So what I would do is I would literally probably lay down and go to sleep. I would get absolutely nothing done, depending on what it is. So my mental health diagnosis is R. I have OCD, and I also have general anxiety disorder, obsessive compulsive disorder. So most people think it's being neat and being clean, washing your hands 1,000 times. It's different kinds. So I'm a checker, and I also have very, I think they call it intrusive thoughts. I used to work at a daycare. I was the closing key holder. Daycare closed at 11 o'clock. A lot of days I would leave the daycare with all 4 of my kids, and I would get halfway home and think I didn't lock the door, and I would turn back around and check it. When I say I do this all the time, I check my door throughout the night, which I really don't sleep at nighttime, so I check my door. I mean, I think most parents check their kids. I check my kids, see they're breathing. I have a kid that's 18, and I still will go in the room and check on her. Anything, curling irons, iron, hell, the damn ferrets. I'd go to the ferret cage like, okay, are they okay? Okay, Bubbles, just move, we're good here, you know. But that's what I have for as my OCD. And then the intrusive thoughts, my brain does not operate like the average person. If, let's say I'm in a relationship and my guy tell me, hey, I'm gonna call you when I get to where I'm going, and he don't call. My thoughts are, oh Lord, he didn't call. He was in a car accident and a tree fell on him. It's just really, really, it's bad. Like, it's almost like torture in your brain. As far as the general anxiety disorder, I think that's when my depression fall in at, because sometimes I get depressed, and my anxiety just, it's on another level. It's not like a normal person having anxiety. It's like up here. So that's the only way I can explain it. That's kind of hard, because everybody has anxiety, but when it's a disorder, it's 10 times worse. I do experience trembling. So with me being a makeup artist, that may be a barrier, like we talked about before. A lot of times, if my anxiety gets too high, when I say I tremble to the point I can't get it done. I have to go get another employee to put the eyeliner on. I have to get somebody to kind of finish what I'm doing. My worrying it goes along with thoughts. I worry so bad that it kind of could get me sick, because I worry about everything. Like, and it doesn't matter what it is. Like, hell, the bird could be in the tree and about to fall, and I'm like, oh Jesus, the bird is gonna die. Like, it's not being funny, but that's how bad it is. I do have like the sweaty palms. The biggest thing for me, I think, was worrying and the anxiety part of that. Relationship wise, well, now I'm not in a relationship. I've been single for over a year now. But during that time, I'm short-tempered. Like, depending on what I'm going through, it's kind of hard to explain. I basically had to explain to that person that I was with what I had going on with me, and hey, you might want to look into this, because if you don't look into it, some things I may do you may not understand. Which he did. He looked into it. He tried his hardest, but I can say that also with having mental health illnesses, plural, I don't hold relationships long. So the fact that I was in this relationship for about about 6 years was a big deal, but it wasn't a happy situation for the last couple. And I went through my hardest time with the anxiety, the OCD, and all that in the last couple of years. As far as my family, it took a long time for my family to understand. It took my sister to go through her mental health things, I'm just gonna say it like that, before anybody wanted to hear what I had to say. When they saw my sister going through it, she's younger, it was like, hey, Mika, we want to know about this, we want to know about that, we want to know about this. But beforehand, it was more like, you alright, girl, there ain't nothing wrong with you, you know, you just need to pray. And it was kind of like washed away. As far as work, people nowadays it's a different, people know more about it. So at work, everybody else had their own stuff going on, so they kind of understood. But as far as family was like, girl, you alright, you be alright. What about friends? Friends are very understanding. If I don't answer the phone, let's say I tell them I'm going through something, I don't answer the phone for a day or so, they will be at the door. I get calls, I get pop-ups. My friends are very understanding, and it's actually breathtaking. Like, they got my back all the way. I have 4 children. Their ages are 18, 16, 13, and 11. Girl, boy, girl, boy. And I talk to them about mental illness only because if they encounter somebody else with that type of illness or that acts weird or something, you never know what they're going through. Both of my boys are, they have ADHD. I teach them that that's not the end of the world. You know, I give them coping mechanisms, you know, methods actually, to kind of get them, because they're not on medication, to get them through whatever they're going through. But for the most part, if I'm having a bad day, like my oldest daughter, she knows exactly what's going on. She explains to them, or some days when I have the right words, because I'm really snippy sometimes when I'm going through whatever. I let them know that, you know, your mother don't think the same. I'm going through XYZ, and this is why I'm going through XYZ. Like coming here today, my daughter asked me, well, where are you going? I said, I have an interview. It's about mental health. She was like, that's right, you have anxiety. And I was like, OCD. And then I told her about the other one. And she was like, well, what is that one? I said, we'll talk about it when I get back. Growing up, I received absolutely nothing in regards to mental health. I'm pretty sure, and I only know this because I went to therapy, pretty sure I've been battling and dealing with both of these illnesses for a while, but because my grandmother and my aunt that raised me, they don't talk about this stuff. This stuff, it doesn't exist. You're just gonna pray on it, it's gonna go away. It doesn't go away. So I think maybe as a kid, if somebody would have listened or paid attention to me and knew that something was going on with me, I may have, I'm not gonna say may have had a better life, but it's kind of sort of may have had a better life, because then I would have known what was going on with me. I wouldn't have figured out what was going on with me as an adult with 4 kids. But that was nothing. We didn't talk about that type of stuff. It didn't exist. Only thing I could think of experiencing would have been, I know I experienced migraines that they couldn't figure out where they came from. I used to sleepwalk as a kid too. I don't know if that ties into that, but I remember that vividly, like sleepwalking. I don't remember anything from when I was a kid besides the migraines. I know the thoughts were always there. I've always had them weird thoughts in my brain, like they never went anywhere. And in school, I always needed a little extra attention. So in school, I was the kid that the teacher's desk is here, and I was here. I was that kid because I needed a lot of extra attention. I couldn't focus. I just couldn't. But it wasn't to the point where anybody noticed it. I still got good grades and all that good stuff. So kind of. I have people in my family that have mental issues or mental health illnesses that, no, I think they most were diagnosed. I learned not long ago that my grandmother was bipolar. Did not know that. Not the one that raised me, but the one I look identical. I got a grandmother she's dead now. God rest her soul, but I look identical to her. But my dad told me that, and he told me this recently. He was like, you could be crazy just like your grandma. And I was just like, huh? Like, what do you mean? But he said, your grandmother, they said she was bipolar. But I know for a fact, I don't remember seeing her take medication for it. Besides her, I have a cousin that he's bipolar. Has the medication but won't take it. So I know a couple people that they're just like, no, I'm not putting it in my body. It's not gonna help me, type thing. Because of the way I was raised, it's definitely a stigma. People don't believe it. They don't believe it exists. You hear people say, oh, that's just the devil. You know, like, no, it exists. You can believe in God, and God created everything. So if we're on this earth and you believe in God and God created everything, where did mental health come from? It didn't just appear. It's real. And I feel like when people realize that it's real and that people really go through these things, that it'll be so much better. Because then maybe suicides will go down, because you're going to listen to a person when a person is telling you, hey, I feel like my might do something crazy, but you're like, oh no, you're black, you know, you don't do that. That's that crazy white people stuff. No, it exists. I'm black, okay? It exists. No, I do not currently receive mental health treatment. My reason for that is I've learned what my triggers are. I eat stuff like blueberries because that helps with it, and I'm into a lot of like natural supplements or whatever, but I do not currently receive any treatment. But I've been to therapy, I've taken medication, I've done everything, and it did help. But this year has been a year, okay? So with that being said, earlier this year I decided not to take medication anymore, and it's worked out so far good for me. However, if any time come and I feel like I need it, I will start using it again, or return back to therapy and all that good stuff. Coping strategies, I would definitely say the way I dress is, because on a bad day also I will put on clothes. A lot of times people see me on social media, they'll be like, girl, you look good, where you going? I went to Target, okay? I didn't go nowhere far. I put on clothes, I put on makeup, and I went to Target, and I spent more money than I could afford to spend on my card, but it helps. It's like a therapy. And then working out, of course. I work out probably 4 or 5 times a week. That is the biggest help, because I don't even have no energy to feel sad about nothing. Like once I don't work myself out, I'm tired. I just want to eat and binge watch some kind of show or something like that. So I would say working out is a really good thing. And yeah, definitely my clothes. And like I said earlier, my makeup too. So all of this helped me in some kind of way. Advice. I would say that if you have a mental illness, or you even think you have a mental illness, you should definitely look into receiving some kind of help, some kind of treatment. Whether it's going to a therapist and talking to a therapist. Folks think that talking to a therapist doesn't help. It does help. And my therapist actually pinpoint why I have what I have going on with me. I didn't know that my mother abandoned me and having alcohol and drug abuse issues affected me. That's where a lot of this came from. That's why I knew I had something going on since I was a kid. My mom stopped taking care of me at the age of, I think I was 3 when my grandmother and my aunt started taking care of me. So I would definitely say to definitely seek treatment. You're not crazy because you're seeking treatment. It will actually help you. It will actually help you have a productive life. Like me, I'm mother of 4. I have a bachelor's degree. I work. I do pretty well to have all this stuff going on. And on the outside, you can't tell I have it going on. And that's another thing. You think because somebody look a certain way that they're perfect. They're not. But I would say yes to go get treatment. That would be the first thing you need to do. And don't give a damn about nobody calling you crazy, whatever the case may be, because this is your life. You get one. You only have one. And what else would I tell you? Yeah, because once you get treatment, you can learn your triggers. You can learn about whatever it is you're dealing with and how to deal with it. Simple. I think women are catty as hell, and they're too busy trying to be better than the next one, that they won't talk about their mental illnesses, and they won't kind of reach out to each other. However, I've experienced a lot of women that do. At my job, half the women I work with had something going on with them, and we all have talked about it. But on a regular basis, I don't think so. I think women just, because it's like almost like everybody want to be perfect and want to look like they're superior to the next person when we're all out here going through like the same stuff. So no, I think women need to do better in that aspect. Like the saying, you know, I used to say you can fix somebody's crown without letting the world know that it was. I feel like that's a statement that we should live by, but you know, to be a much to ask for this generation. One, I decided to participate in this project. One, because when you said the month, and I thought about the month with the mental illness, I think it was the other day. Last year around this time, I actually admitted myself into Tucker's. I had a mental breakdown. I'm talking about, y'all. I was just like, I want to go to sleep and I want to wake up. Oh my God, I just want to die. I want to die. I want to die. I want to die. Didn't know why. But after being admitted and staying there for days, and I went to little therapy treatments, and of course they gave me medication. At that moment, I actually figured out what one of my triggers were, and it was a person. And I also realized that I don't ever want to be in that place ever again. Okay, so one, I figured out my triggers. Two, I was away from my kids and terrified because I didn't know what was happening with them because nobody was at home with them, but I have a good support system, so they were fine. Three, I don't ever want to be in that place again. That was the most traumatizing experience I ever went through in my life. All because mentally I was not there, and it was almost like I just broke down. Like whatever I was going through last year, it just one day it just came down on me, and I just shut down. And I drove myself to the hospital. So when I was asked to do this interview, I'm like, okay, this is a perfect time, because this is around the time when most people start feeling down because the holidays come around. They're missing their loved ones. Like, I just buried one of my aunt that raised me. She was like my mother. She was my mother. I just buried her in June. So around this time of the year is when people start to feel down on themselves, on their luck. They start missing their loved ones. They start going through all kinds of weird stuff, like the weather is all funky and all that good stuff. So I will hope that listening to me talk, and then even if I don't say what y'all need me to say, like y'all can reach out to me, however, would help somebody. I hope it helps somebody. Somebody, you could be right there trying to take your own life, but it's not worth it. You can live through anything. So that's the reason why I decided to do this. Okay, so this look, it gives me like 80s vibes. Like if I was on a Fresh Prince of Bel-Air or something, and then I would just like throw a little hat on. And it makes me feel good because it's cute. You see how cute it is? Like, you have to shimmy your shoulders when you wear this. But the Converse, because it's cold outside, it's raining. Converse are old school. You can see these are old as hell. But I thought putting on tennis shoes would give it a different spin versus having on heels, as if you would have saw it back in the 80s. That's all I really got from it, you know? Just a little pantsuit, that's it, you know.
Good evening.